Hello, I'm Simon Siddle and I transform musicians into shamans. Today's quickie from the Conscious Music School is for anybody who's ever found themselves falling into a difficult emotional or mental space while they're trying to perform music. So let's get straight to it. Just before we get going today, don't forget to like the video and subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you want to join my Facebook group, you'll find the link below. So, have you ever found yourself performing, either to other human beings or even just a microphone in a studio, and found that your emotions and your mind state slowly begin to fall off the place that you'd really like to be in and begin to sabotage your whole performance? I'm sure that's most of you at one point or another. There are 101 reasons why this can happen, but today I'd like to offer you a tiny little nugget about the energetic philosophy of performing music, that if you really dig into this and think about what you're doing inside it and what your habits have been, you might find this whole problem begins to ease and soften and turn into something that's actually your ally rather than your enemy. And that nugget is, performance should be a conversation, not a one-way street of dictation or saying it how it is. It's very difficult to think like that when you're just in a studio with a microphone, but in front of other people it becomes very obvious, doesn't it? Especially in any circumstance where you might be on a stage with bright lights on you and you can't even see the faces of the people in front of you. In that moment of you losing that perfect balance in your performance, part of the dynamics that's going on is that your subconscious, at least, if not your conscious mind, is already thinking, I should be conversing with somebody here, I should be giving out energy and getting energy back. And by that, I don't just mean the applause at the end of a piece. I mean, music is something that affects people moment to moment. And if you're performing something and you are numb to the effects that you're having on other people, your mind notices this, your energy system notices this in a moment and goes seeking for somebody to have that conversation with. Now, if you've sealed yourself off energetically or emotionally from people around you while you're performing simply because of shyness or fear or just sheer habit of the way you've performed for years, at some point during your performance, your subconscious mind will actually go looking for a conversation partner to have that energetic exchange with. And in the perceivable absence of there being anybody else out there to have that conversation with, your subconscious mind will go looking within for a conversational partner to have that exchange with. The trouble is with this is that more often than not, especially if you're in a good mood while you're performing and you're pushing out love and you want to give your audience soul food while you're playing, your mind will look for a complementary partner for that. And by that I mean somewhat opposite. And frankly, who better than your own self-critic? Yes, your own self-critic will be woken up just to have that conversation, and at one moment you are playing perfectly well, and at the next moment you can hear this voice in your mind saying, well, that wasn't very good, or you screwed that up, or whatever it might be. Or it might manifest not through voice in the mind, but through tension in the muscles, buzzing in the nerves, sheer nervous distraction of any kind. There's a simple way through this. Whenever you perform, make sure that before you perform, you have already connected with your audience, whether that be through the very virtual manner that would have to be if you're in a studio with a microphone and you know it's going to go down into an MP3 or a CD and then go through the post or the email and come out somebody else's computer days, weeks or years later. You can still envisage the energetic and emotional conversation you're having with your audience. Even better, when you're playing live, it's possible to simply assert to yourself quietly, you don't have to tell your audience this, but to assert quietly to your audience that you are going to have that energetic exchange with them. If you watch master Indian classical musicians perform, you will more often than not find that before they ever perform, they will enact a small little ritual that you might not even notice when they actually come in and sit down. That ritual will be something along the lines of simply acknowledging the holy essence, the consciousness of your audience as being equal to your own, and that you are worthy conversation partners, and that in order for that conversation to flow well, it is best for the performer to open both their mind and their heart to their audience. When you have made that connection, it becomes very difficult to fall back into your own mind completely, just as it is if you're in a room with somebody to come to a place where you ignore them so much that you don't even notice that they're there anymore. If while you are having that conversation, all you can think about is how you are coming across to them, and you're focusing all your attention on what you're doing and how you're putting your energy out, not only can your conversation partner sense that you are actually more interested in yourself than in them, but the energy exchange will become stymied, will become blocked. It is when you take more interest in your conversational partner than you do in yourself that conversation becomes flowing and free and easy, because in that moment you are not in a place where it is easy to set judgments on yourself, because you are not concentrating on yourself. You are concentrating on what your energetic output is doing to somebody else. It's strange, isn't it? We don't think the same way about speech conversation that we do about this energetic exchange of music. If you were trying to have a conversation with somebody, a speech conversation, and you were trying to talk about chemistry, for instance, and you were trying to pronounce lots of extremely long chemical names that you'd never read before, you wouldn't be at all surprised if you tripped up over your words while you were speaking like that. But it probably wouldn't trouble you to the point where your inner critic was saying, "You're useless, you can't even speak, you can't even read, you're an idiot." No, you just think, well, I'm not used to these things, I'm not fluent with these things, and therefore I forgive myself for stumbling over them somewhat. We don't do that when we perform music, do we? We trash ourselves just because we've pushed ourselves somewhat technically over our edge to a place where we need to bring our intellect back into ourselves just in order to produce a coherent output from our music. This is why when you perform something which is much simpler, it's possible to forget the technicalities inside it and refocus yourself on what is really essential about the music performance, which is that energetic exchange with other people. Now, some folk will say, well, when I perform in front of people, that's when I get the most nervous. Well, okay, yes, I understand that that is a perceived truth for a lot of musicians. But I would say to you that in those moments, what's actually happening is that the faces in front of you are causing you more self-consciousness than if you were simply staring at a blank wall and a microphone while you were performing. That's an uncontrolled habit of letting your mind self-ruminate using the symptoms of other people's facial expressions and energetic reactions to you, letting those things be an excuse for you to go back inside yourself and focus on yourself, inviting the critic in. If you were genuinely energetically concentrated on your audience, this self-consciousness would not have room to get a look in. Now, that's easier said than done, isn't it? It's going to take some practice, some time, some experience, maybe even some mentoring. But then that's what the Conscious Music School is here for. That's what I'm here for. So if you're interested in following this line of inquiry, I invite you to check out my free resource, the Free and Capable Musician in 2021 report. You'll find a link to it below. And that's all I have for you today. So have a great day, and remember, I salute the conscious musician within you.